How's it going, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Baldcafe podcast. Here's a little bit of what you can expect in this episode.
I was just getting ridiculous. I was going to the gym. I'd wear my hat backwards, and if I was going to do bench press, I'd have to flip my hat around, but I'd have to make sure that nobody would see me because I didn't want anyone to know that I was bald. It was literally affecting me everywhere I went. Me just being super concerned about anyone seeing the back of my head. I tried just a long on top haircut. It hit it a little bit better. I was still worried about my hair going one way, and I just gradually took baby steps, I guess. At that point, I was like, man, I'm 95% of the way there. I'm not going to look that much different if I just shave it all off. So I just said, to hell with it.
Also, guys, don't forget that Baldcafe is sponsored by Leaf Shave. Check them out. First link in the description. If you're on a journey through hair loss, kick back, grab yourself a cup of something. I'm sure there are bits of Jared's story that can help you on your journey too.
My name's Jared. I'm from the East Coast of Canada. I'm 27 years old, and I would say that I fully committed to being bald at about 26. I noticed that I started going bald at 21. So, being 21 years old, being told you're going to lose your hair or whatever, it's something that's pretty hard to deal with, I guess, especially at that age. My balding started in the crown. If I was to grow my hair out, you wouldn't be even able to tell that I'm losing my hair or whatever from this angle anyway. But yeah, from the back, it just looks not very good or whatever. So I just decided to take the plunge and just shave my head. I found out when I was backpacking Thailand, we met a few friends from Sweden, and we were traveling somewhere, and somebody was sitting behind me on one of those buses, and then they're just looking at the back of my head, and then they were like, "Oh, do you know you're going bald?" And I'm 21, I'm on a vacation, that's the last thing I want to think about, right? So I'm just beside myself. So, well, you know how it all starts. Then you start taking pictures of it and seeing, and it was so minuscule back then when I was 21, yeah, but you didn't really notice unless you were looking for it, kind of thing. So it didn't bother me so much right away. I knew it was happening, but I didn't know how long the process would take to get worse or whatever. So if I actually grow my hair out, you probably can barely even tell I'm bald because I'm only 20% loss or whatever. But especially in the back, in the front, you can kind of grow your hair out a little bit, with just a little bit of loss and probably get away with it. But the back, there was just no hiding it. I tried a few different things. I tried to grow my hair out down to here or whatever, and it just looked terrible. My dad's actually fully bald, been bald as long as I can remember. He went bald when I was super young, so I was always kind of scared that would happen. But my whole life, getting haircuts and stuff, they're always super positive, oh, you got super thick hair, you never have to worry about going bald, blah blah blah. So I guess it kind of went to my ego a little bit, and I never thought that it would happen to me. I had other buddies that were way more bald than me, our age or whatever, and I just didn't think it was going to happen. And if it did, I thought it was going to be down the road. So I thought I was at least smooth sailing for my 20s, but it didn't work out that way. It got worse a little bit later on down the road once I started to hide it and notice it a little bit more. I would say the first thing that I did was just try to grow my hair out. I thought that for some reason longer hair would be easier to hide it, but over time I probably had hair for a year and a half. I found that it actually made it worse having long hair trying to hide it. I eventually switched to just shaving my head number 2 on top and nothing on the sides. So pretty standard haircut, but I found that hit it a lot better. It was harder to notice when my hair was short. So yeah, that was something I learned down the road. If you're somebody who wasn't super bald, I would probably start with short haircuts for sure. The long stuff, it's just it's always moving around and getting out of place, and you're always worried about if what people are looking at the back of your head. It's not a good feeling. And the worst part about it all is it's all in your head. Realistically, nobody cares if you're bald other than yourself. You know what I mean? You might think this big group of people are going to come up to you and start making fun of you, but it's not how it works. I work in the construction industry, so picking on each other to get through the day is a very big part of my job and my day-to-day life. And I was super worried about this going bald because I thought people were going to make fun of me. I'd seen it all before, right? And I'm oh man, not looking forward to going to work bald. And honestly, maybe a quick 1-second comment just because it's a new look and people are just commenting on it. But other than that, nobody even mentions it. It sucks because I'm on the other side, and if you're still in it, you can't really relate because you're not on the other side yet. But once you get there, you'll know what I mean.
That's a really key point. It's when you're going through it, like you said, it's all of those things that you're assuming is going to happen. You're just you're just waiting for those negative comments and things like that, and then it's only once you go through and experience it. But that's the beauty of it, because you almost have to do it. You have to get out of your comfort zone like that to then just get rid of all of that fear when you realize, oh, that isn't actually how it's going to work out. So I'm really pleased you kind of mentioned that point.
All growing up, I always had short haircuts, so I kind of like, obviously I didn't know what I would look like bald, but like I always had some version of a short haircut. So I had a rough idea of what I would look like when I was bald. Some people don't have that advantage. Like some people always have the flippy haircut.
Mm.
They don't really know what they look like with short hair or whatever. So I was at a bit of an advantage. But I found when I was doing research on the internet, it wasn't necessarily like about transplants or anything, but it was just how to keep my hair for as long as possible, or to like somehow miraculously reverse something that's irreversible. I found all the research that you could do online actually kind of negative or whatever, because everybody was always just like giving you ways like to buy these products that don't even work to somehow prolong having hair. But I mean, I find the longer that you keep the hair, the longer you're just tied down. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're just prolonging the inevitable. Like I found a guy online, Max Da Silva. He's a guy from America, and he was the
Yeah.
first guy doing like just positive stuff that you could put your energy towards, like other than just thinking about your hair. After I kind of got over it's when I discovered your channel, and I thought that was really good too, because there's not enough people like just shedding light that on it's not really a big deal, right? Like you think it's such a bigger deal than it actually is. And
Yeah.
it's hard to hear from someone else, because I mean you're in your own head, not me, but like once you shave it off, it'll be the best decision you ever made in your life. Like,
Yeah, you touched on a few good things there, and I'm good friends with Max, and it was his videos as well that I first discovered, and I realized that it's entirely possible to just kind of accept it and to be completely comfortable with yourself after watching, seeing him and getting into that space and seeing how positive the people like who are on that side of it were. I knew that was like the point I wanted to get to. Once again, man, I think that's just got to point out another good thing while we're having this conversation and putting it out there, just to show that there definitely is another way with this stuff. In your mind, you said, you were looking to like, well, how can I, just kind of keep this for as long as I can. Then did you kind of have a time in your head when you're like, right, when it gets to this point, I'm just going to shave it off? Or was there like a moment of inspiration that came along, or was it kind of, did you shave it off one day based on a negative experience, or how did you then, say, right, I'm just going to shave this off now?
I think I gradually did it because when I grew my hair long, that was like my first initial reaction or whatever. And I think I was kind of doing that as like a goodbye to hair too, right? Like this is the last time I'm ever going to have like a hairstyle, so I might as well just go all in kind of thing. So I grew my hair super long, but then like the weight of it just made me look like way more bald than I
Oh,
actually
like, yeah,
was. Yeah, I was like pulling it apart kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
So yeah, I was like, okay, it's time to switch this up. I was just getting like ridiculous. Like I was going to the gym and like, if I was doing say like I'd wear my hat backwards, and if I was going to do bench press, I'd have to flip my hat around, but
yeah.
I'd have to make sure that nobody would see me, because I didn't want anyone to know that I was bald. So like, like it was literally affecting me like everywhere I went. Like me just being super concerned about anyone seeing the back of my head. So I tried just like a long on top haircut and like short on the sides, and it hit it a little bit better, but like it was still there, and I was still worried about like my hair going one way and not being able to see it. So I just gradually took like baby steps, I guess, because then I converted from the long on top to like a two on the top, like shaved, but with like a little bit of hair. For that to work, I found I had to be pretty regular with getting a haircut. Like I'm talking once a week kind of thing. So I don't know what a haircut is in the UK, but like a good haircut here is probably about $35.
Mm.
So I mean, doing that 52 times a year is not really cost effective or whatever, right? So I just at that point I was like, man, I'm friggin' 95% of the way there. I'm not going to look that much different if I just shave it all off. So I just
Yeah.
said to hell with it. Like the only negative I find about shaving my head is just that, for one, I've only been doing it for probably about a year. Um, and I'm just somebody who likes to keep it pretty fresh. You know what I mean? Like if I don't like to have the little bit of growth. Like if I'm going to be bald, I'm going to be bald. I don't want to, like, not that it's anything wrong with growing it out a little bit or whatever. I just find like keeping on top of it can be a little time consuming sometimes. Like you got to do it probably twice a week. So it's a commitment in that sense, but it's better than looking half bald. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's still there's an element of like maintenance with it, you're shaving your head. Absolutely, it's not like you can't just do nothing and it stays like that. Of course, I got to ask for your advice for the guys who are like in the thick of it, or maybe in a situation to how you were. Maybe that would be for you. You said take the gradual approach, right? Take it down slowly. Have you got any other like words of advice for guys out there, maybe based on your own experience with it?
Based on my own experience, like it just literally doesn't affect your life. Like at the time I was single and I thought that that would affect my like, you know, obviously getting girls, being a young guy with no hair. Like I thought that was going to be the be all end all, right? Like that was part of my thing. But my girlfriend now, she doesn't care at all. Like not even a little bit. She's super good looking. So, I mean, nothing, like honestly nothing's going to change. If anything, it's going to keep the people out of your life that aren't supposed to be there. So if you're comfortable with having a half bald head and you can honestly say that you're confident walking around like that, like by all means, power to you. Keep your hair as long as you can. For me, that wasn't an option. I didn't like that look. I had to get rid of it. COVID, best time probably ever to shave your head. A lot of people aren't working, right? So I mean, like, you can shave it just to find out what it looks like, and if you don't like it, like, grow your hair back. I found a big thing was just finding out what I looked like bald. Like that's kind of what sparked my interest to shave my head, because I'd never shaved my head like clean razor shaved. And one day I was just like, you know what, it's going to grow back in a week anyway, so I might as well just like take a look at what I'm going to look like 10 years down the road if I decide to grow my hair back. So then you got a good idea, right? So I mean, experiment. There's no better time to do it.
I think you touched on another good thing with the just seeing. It's just about seeing how it looks, right? That's one of the biggest things. How is my head shape going to look? But it's interesting that you mentioned as well the thing with like, right, am I ever going to get laid again if I'm bald? Because I think that's
Yeah.
probably like literally 98% of the worry. You said in your experience, like obviously, I'm assuming. So you weren't with your girlfriend, right? When you get, I mean, I'm not asking you just to like dish out all of the, you know,
Yeah.
what you've been doing. You know, I get it. But
Yeah.
safe to say you didn't have any issues there, right?
No, it's just like anything, right? Like, I mean, some girls aren't going to like you that you're bald. Big deal. Like, there's certain attributes that I'm sure you don't like in certain females too, right? So, I mean, like, everybody's got their own persona. Just like anything for people not to see the back of my head, right? Like, if I was staying at my buddy's house or whatever, and we went out for a night drinking, like some clubs here you can't wear a hat or
Yeah.
whatever, right? But some you can, and you know damn well when I was bald and I ain't going to any that I couldn't have a hat or whatever, right? Same with like if I was crashing at my buddy's house, and like these are like my buddies that I was trying to hide it from, like childhood best friends, you know what I mean? Like I don't really think they're going to care too much if I'm bald, but like to me, I did think they were. So like, and I didn't want them to know because I thought that they would be the first people to like, you know, go tell everybody. So I was just like, even if I was staying at their house, like if I was crashing on their couch, like right up until like literally the moment that my buddy was going to bed, like I would literally be like laying on the couch with my hat still on, you know what I mean? Like just anything to hide it for like another split second. Big thing would be getting changed at my locker, and if I took off my hat, people would see me from the back. So like I would just like not take off my hat like at all, period, in the locker room kind of thing. Just I don't know, like you're just trying to hide something that nobody cares about. It's pretty stressful though, like when you're going through it or whatever, it does suck, but it's nice to have channels like this and stuff where you have like normal people that live a normal life that you can relate to, right?
Going back really quickly to the whole stress of the little things that you kind of have to manage day to day so that people aren't, you know, going to notice it. I think those are the things that they build and they build and they build up to the point where you're like, right, I need to like take care of this now. You know, I need to get this dealt with. So you almost have to like embrace those little struggles along the way, because ultimately I think they actually go a long way in giving you the motivation and the like the encouragement to really just move past it, you know? So as much
Yeah.
as it sucks having to deal with that stuff, it's part of the journey, right? It's definitely part of the journey.
I have guys at work that are probably in their 50s that are like, I don't know how long they've been going bald, but I mean, it's been for a while, but like some of them I've never seen without hats either. And I'm like, man, like that's got to be crippling. Like like, I don't know if it's been 10, 20, 30 years that he's been like hiding it, but like, there's guys that I've worked with that I've literally never seen the top of their head. And I don't know if they're like intentionally hiding it or whatever, right? I'm just wondering if they're going through the same thing. Like I don't bring it up because, you know, it's something personal or whatever, but constantly day to day, like worrying about those like little struggles and is somebody looking at it, this and that, right? Like it's not, it's really taxing on your head. Like, you know what I mean? Like people at the gas station don't care if you're bald.
We use that word liberating, right? Once you kind of just get it out there and you got nothing to hide anymore, dude. I mean, I'd hate to keep bringing up the same point, but the reason why we're having this chat now and putting it out there is that very point. You know, those dudes that probably are like in that spot still after a decade of being like that, they obviously don't feel they, you know, it's not a thing that they want to do. It's like, hey man, can I see you're bald, like can I ask you about that? Like I'm struggling with this. Guys just don't do that, you know. It's just not, it's very rare.
Yeah, well, I'm not somebody normally to do stuff like this, but I mean, it was a pretty big mental hurdle for me anyway. So I can understand a lot of people relating to that, and just hearing from somebody normal, like a regular guy is definitely helpful. I wish I would have came across your channel, honestly, like a little bit sooner, to be honest. But I'm glad it's out there, and I'm glad that hopefully there's lots of people watching.
No, man, thank you so much.
For closing words, I mean, if you've been thinking about it and you're holding on to it, just seriously, just try it out. Hopefully, with these terrible times going around, that maybe you got a few minutes to give her a go, and don't let it cripple you. I understand wanting to hold on as long as humanly possible. Like if you're in a situation where you know what, like you're pretty comfortable with what you got left, rock that for as long as possible. Because I mean, once you shave, you're not going to go back. So enjoy what hair time you have left, and if you're ready to take the plunge, just seriously do it, and you won't regret it. And then maybe you'll be one of those people on these videos next time once you got your head shaved, and you'll be given some good advice, and maybe I'll be the person that friggin' helped you get over that hurdle, right?
Thank you so much, Jared. I really appreciate it.